to 1.2 liters. So these were the volumes, these are the capacities. Capacities are just additional of two or more volumes. Inspiratory capacity, which is TB plus IRV, it is a total air a person can breathe after normal expiration. So you have given out 500 ml of that tidal volume, normal expiration. So the TV plus IRV was the inspiratory reserve volume, which is around 3000 to 3.5 liters, 3000 milliliters to 3500 milliliters. Expiratory capacity is same. It is just the difference is that after normal expiration I see the volume, and just after normal inspiration EC. EC is TB plus ERV. TB plus ERV, expiratory reserve volume, which the total will be 1500 to 1600. Tidal volume is 500, and expiratory reserve volume ranges from 1000 to 1100. Functional residual capacity, FRC. It is the volume of air which remains in the lung after forceful expiration. So the volume of air which remains in the lung after forceful expiration will be a residual volume plus ERV, so which is around 2100 to 2300 ml. Vital capacity is ERV plus tidal volume plus IRV, expiratory reserve volume plus tidal volume plus inspiratory reserve volume, which will be around 4000 to 4600 ml. It is the maximum volume of air a person can breathe after a forced expiration. After forcefully expiration, the amount of air which you can inhale is 4000 to 4600 ml maximum. Total lung capacity will be TV plus RV, which is tidal volume. That will be VC plus RV, vital capacity plus residual volume, which will be tidal volume plus expiratory reserve volume plus inspiratory reserve volume plus residual volume, which totals out to be 5100 to 5800 ml. Exchange of gases. Gases are exchanged mainly on the basis of pressure and concentration gradient. So here this chart is present in the NCERT. You can read it. It is important. So atmospheric air will be obviously high for oxygen, which is 159, and CO2 will be 0.3. In alveoli, oxygen will be greater and the carbon dioxide will be smaller in value. Blood is deoxygenated, so the oxygen will deoxygenated. There is less oxygen. Oxygen will be 40 and carbon dioxide will be 45. When blood is oxygenated, more oxygen, so the blood will have more oxygen, 95 oxygen, and PCO2 will be 40. And tissues is where the catabolic reactions take place. Tissues and blood, deoxygenated blood will have the same amount of the pressure, PCO2 and PO2, because tissues is where the catabolic reactions take place. Here the carbon dioxide is released. Deoxygenated blood takes in the carbon dioxide by the tissues and supplies the oxygen which was taken in by you from the atmosphere. So diffusion membrane is made up of three major layers. The alveoli, the diffusion membrane is present in the lungs, okay, so don't get confused in that tissues and stuff. The diffusion membrane is made of three layers. Thin squamous epithelium, which is present in the alveoli. So the alveoli, then after that thin squamous epithelium, there will be basement membrane, which is present between alveoli and alveolar capillaries. Endothelium will be the tissue used in alveolar capillaries. Transport of gases. Oxygen is transported. 97% of the oxygen is transported by RBCs in the blood, and 3% is transported by the plasma. RBCs have hemoglobin, as you know. We'll study it on later in detail, and then we'll see. Carbon dioxide is 20 to 25% RBC. Carbon dioxide forms carbaminohemoglobin. So 20 to 25% is carried by RBCs, and 70% is carried by bicarbonates. Bicarbonates are HCO3, the carbon ion I'm saying. So it will be with some metal in sodium bicarbonate, potassium bicarbonate, whatever. 7% is in the plasma of CO2. Transport of oxygen here, as I was saying about hemoglobin. So hemoglobin is a red colored iron containing pigment. It is a coordination complex. You study it in chemistry. Hemoglobin with oxygen forms oxyhemoglobin. One hemoglobin can carry 4 molecules of oxygen. This is O2, 32. The molecular mass is 32. Factors affecting oxygen binding with hemoglobin. So the partial pressure of oxygen, the partial pressure of carbon dioxide. If the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is less and partial pressure of oxygen is more, and the concentration of hydrogen ion is less, also the temperature is less, these are the favorable conditions for oxyhemoglobin. So you just have to remember the partial pressure of oxygen is high, all the rest are low. Less PCO2, less concentration of hydrogen ions, and lower temperature. In tissues, we have low PO2, which is the partial pressure of oxygen, high PCO2, high hydrogen ion concentration, and higher temperature. So here the oxygen is oxyhemoglobin is dissociated, and the oxygen is taken in by the tissues, and the carbon dioxide is given out because of low PO2, high PCO2, high hydrogen concentration, and high temperature. It is the favorable conditions for the formation of carbaminohemoglobin. Every 100 ml of oxygenated blood can transport 5 ml of oxygen. Transport of carbon dioxide. Carbon dioxide is carried by hemoglobin as carbaminohemoglobin. As we studied earlier, that 20 to 25% of carbon dioxide is transported by CO2 by carbaminohemoglobin. High PCO2, low PO2, carbaminohemoglobin is formed. High PCO2, the partial pressure of carbon dioxide is higher, and the partial pressure of oxygen is low. The carbaminohemoglobin is formed. Low PCO2 and high PO2, these are the favorable conditions for the formation of oxyhemoglobin, which is present in alveoli. So RBCs containing very high concentration of enzymes, carbonic anhydrase, minute concentration is present in plasma also. So carbonic anhydrase converts carbon dioxide and water, which are the end products of catabolism and metabolism total, which converts it into bicarbonate ion, which is HCO3 minus, and hydrogen ion. Also carbonic anhydrase converts CO2 plus water, which is carbon dioxide and water, to carbonic acid. So every 100 ml of deoxygenated blood supplies 4 ml of carbon dioxide to alveoli and takes in 5 ml of oxygen to transport it to the tissues and all. Regulation of respiration. Regulation of respiration occurs as we have learnt in the nervous system chapter. The pneumotoxic center in pons regulates the respiratory rhythm center present in the medulla oblongata. So basically, regulation of respiration, I'll explain it to short. So regulation of respiration occurs by the respiratory rhythm center present in the medulla, and the pneumotoxic center, which is present in the pons, regulates the respiratory rhythm center. The pneumotoxic center, what it does is it increases the amount of respiration. It increases the number of respiration, the number of breathing you take. You do. So the duration of respiration is decreased. So while you run, the pneumotoxic center acts in the pon asks the respiratory rhythm center to decrease the duration of respiration. So if the respiration duration is decreased, the oxygen intake will increase. A chemosensitive area is situated to the adjacent to the rhythm center, which is highly stimulated to carbon dioxide and hydrogen ions. The high stimulation of carbon dioxide and hydrogen ions will activate the respiratory rhythm center to make necessary arrangements, which is increase the duration of respiration, increase the amount of respiration, and decrease the duration of respiration. Receptors are associated with aortic arch and carotid artery. So these are present in the heart, which detects CO2 and hydrogen concentration also. Here, if you see, I have never told the word oxygen like in regulation. So oxygen, keep in mind that oxygen does not affect the respiratory rhythm. It does. The oxygen intake will be affected, like if you run, there will be more carbon dioxide released by the muscles. The catabolism will increase, so oxygen will not affect the respiratory rhythm. Disorders, asthma is due to asthma. There are many people who take asthma pump for their asthma issues. So difficulty in breathing and wheezing is a sound, like if you have seen some asthma person, the wheezing, there is a sound when they breathe. There is that irritating sound of that inflammation of bronchioles. So when there is inflammation of bronchioles, the volume decreases. The volume will decrease, so obviously there will be less gap for the air to pass, which will make sound. Emphysema is a disorder which is related to cigarette smoking. Here, when someone has a cigarette, it damages the alveolar walls. So if the alveolar walls are damaged, there will be less exchange of oxygen and carbon dioxide. Occupation respiratory diseases. So occupation respiratory diseases are silicosis. It is not given in the NCRT anywhere, so please pay attention. Silicosis is when the stone crushing industry, the people who work in stone crushing industries where the stones are broken, they have a risk to have silicosis. Black lung diseases in coal industry, brown lung diseases in cotton industry, the people who work in cotton mills and everything. Fibrosis is just fiber accumulation in alveoli. I think that's the end of the chapter. Yes, it is. Thank you for watching.